America is booming. Cars fill the streets. Factories never stop. Radios play in every home. People feel unstoppable. Everyone believes the good times will never end. But behind the scenes, something dangerous is building. People are borrowing money they don't have, buying stocks they barely understand, believing prices will only go up. It's a bubble, and every bubble eventually bursts. October 29th, 1929. Billions of dollars vanish in a single day. Banks fail. Families lose everything. Jobs disappear. Fear spreads faster than facts. The economy freezes. People are desperate. And America is changed forever. This is the story of the Great Depression. A story of greed. Of fear. Of collapse. And of resilience. Full story. Extended documentary. 5 minutes. Imagine it is 1928. You are standing in America. Cars are everywhere. Factories are booming. Music is playing on the radio. People feel rich. Everyone believes the good times will never end. This period was called the Roaring Twenties. Businesses were growing fast. The stock market kept rising. Regular people believed they had discovered an easy path to wealth. Imagine your friend opens a lemonade stand. It makes money. She sells tiny pieces of her stand to other people. Those tiny pieces are called shares. If the lemonade stand grows, those shares become more valuable. In real life, people bought and sold shares at the New York Stock Exchange. In the 1920s, everyone wanted to buy. Teachers, farmers, barbers, taxi drivers. Even people who did not understand how investing worked. Many people were not using their own money. They were borrowing money to buy stocks. This was called buying on margin. Imagine you have $100. You borrow $900 more. Now you invest $1,000. If the stock goes up, you make big money. If it goes down, you still owe the $900. Stocks kept rising. Higher. Higher. It felt unstoppable. Prices were rising faster than company profits. The market became a bubble. Every bubble eventually pops. In October 1929, fear began to spread. Some investors started selling. Prices dipped slightly. That small dip caused panic. More people rushed to sell. Soon, everyone wanted out at the same time. On October 29, 1929, the stock market collapsed. Billions of dollars disappeared. In days, the crash was only the beginning. Imagine you have your life savings in a bank. You hear about the crash. You get scared. You rush to the bank to withdraw your money. Banks do not keep all your money in a vault. They lend most of it out as loans. If too many people demand their money at once, the bank cannot pay them. This is called a bank run. Thousands of banks failed. Families lost their savings. Small businesses lost operating cash. Trust in the financial system began to disappear. Without banks, businesses could not borrow money. Without loans, factories shut down. Without factories, workers lost jobs. By 1933, about 1 out of every 4 Americans was unemployed. 25%. Imagine your neighborhood. Every 4th house has no paycheck coming in. No steady income. No security. Then nature made things worse. A severe drought hit the Midwest. Poor farming Practices damaged the soil. Massive dust storms swept across farmland. Crops failed. Livestock died. This disaster became known as the Dust Bowl. Farmers who had already taken loans for land and equipment could not repay them. Many lost their farms. Families packed their belongings and moved west, hoping to find work. Jobs were scarce everywhere. The economy did not collapse in a single day. It slowly tightened like a rope. Month after month. Year after year. Factories produced too many goods in the 1920s. Cars. Appliances. Clothing. Workers were not paid enough to buy everything being produced. Shelves filled up. Warehouses overflowed. This is called overproduction. At the same time, Americans had taken on large amounts of debt. They borrowed to buy stocks, borrowed to buy cars, borrowed to buy household items. When layoffs began, the debt remained. People could not repay loans. Banks suffered even more losses. Fear spread faster than facts. There was no federal deposit insurance at that time. If your bank failed, your savings were gone forever. That fear caused more withdrawals, more bank failures, more panic. Small business owners lost customers. They could not get credit. They laid off workers. Those workers stopped spending. The cycle repeated again and again. In 1933, a new president took office. Franklin D. Roosevelt promised action. He introduced programs that became known as the New Deal. The government created jobs building roads, bridges, and dams. They introduced banking reforms. They created social security. They tried to restore trust in the system. Slowly, conditions improved. But recovery was not instant. It took years. The Great Depression finally came to an end during World War II. Factories reopened to produce military equipment. Millions of Americans found work again. Industrial production surged. The economy rebuilt itself. The Great Depression was not just about money. It was about human behavior. People believed prices would rise forever. They borrowed too much. The system became fragile. When fear replaced confidence, everything cracked. It was also a story of resilience. The country reformed its financial system, created safety nets, strengthened banking regulations. And rebuilt trust. Explained like you are 5. It comes down to this. If everyone borrows too much money. If everyone believes prices only go up. And if everyone panics at the same time, the system breaks. But if people learn from mistakes, if safeguards are created, if trust is rebuilt, recovery is possible. The Great Depression changed America forever. It reshaped how banks operate. How governments respond to crises. And how generations think about money. This is the story of how a nation fell into the deepest economic crisis it had ever seen, and how it rebuilt itself again.